Hey everyone, this is Louis Leyva, and I have Josh Valerio with me. We're at the Real Estate Convention 2018. Oh, no, it's not 2018.
2017.
Wow, I'm already thinking 1 year ahead. 2017 Real Estate Convention here in Atlantic City. We're having a great time, and last night I ran into Josh at a networking event, and he was telling me a little bit about his story and how he got started in this business. I felt like he was in this business maybe only a few years because I just met him not too long ago through some mutual friends. But Josh actually has been doing this for a better part of 15 years, and when he started telling me his story, I felt like this is something that people would find a lot of benefit from hearing. So I asked him if he'd be willing to share the story, and luckily he said he would. He asked me a question of like how many people would see this, and I said a lot of people are probably going to see this, and he had to think about it, and I convinced him. I twist his arm, and he's going to give us a story, which I'm really grateful for. So Josh, without any further ado, I want to ask you some questions, and
sure.
maybe you can, give people out there like your message and your story to kind of maybe help them through the first early stages of making a career change, or maybe if they're in a bad part in life, they can maybe revert back from that rather quickly if they hear something that is maybe resonates with them. So you told me when you were a kid, before you went to college, you had kind of a rough time. Can you start there?
I think everybody in life goes through that little test. I just had a little bit more. Single mom. She was raising 3 kids, and say right when I was about in high school, my oldest sister moved in with us, and her daughter, my sister was pregnant maybe 8 months at the time, and her daughter, she had a 3-year-old daughter as well. They moved in because her and her husband got a divorce, and it was just me, my mom, my older sister, and the 3-year-old. And a couple weeks after they moved in, my sister gave birth to my second niece at the time, and the first one, the 3-year-old, was diagnosed with leukemia.
Wow.
So throughout my entire high school career, I lived with a terminally ill child in the house, and watching that really shaped my outlook on life and really helped me become who I am. It's a very difficult thing to comprehend when you're living with a bald 3-year-old essentially who has a chest catheter that has to get cleaned every night and is screaming in pain when they flush that thing out.
Wow.
It was interesting and very sad to watch, especially as a high school kid. But I left the house after I graduated high school and went to college, and shortly after that I left college and started working as a framer, framing condos down in the town I currently live in now in Belmont, New Jersey. And that's when I realized, I must have been 19, 20 years old, I realized then what I wanted to do with my life and what my journey was all about. I was sitting on top of a 3rd-story ridge beam looking at the ocean because we were framing houses or condos by 2 blocks from the ocean, and I watched the developer ride up with his 2 little kids in tow on their bicycles. So it must have been 10, 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and I said, wow, this guy's got the best life. He comes to work with his kids, he's checking on the status of his project, and he's riding off. I mean, talk about career flexibility and time flexibility, and that's really what I wanted to do. So I worked my ass off to get back into college and worked full-time while I was in college. I was bartending, and I was also doing tech support for the school, and I knew I wanted to do something that made a lot of money so I could put all of that money into real estate.
Sure.
And so I got a job in technology after I graduated, and it wasn't my passion, but I found a niche in technology which involved the building and the construction aspect. I used to design and build data centers.
Okay.
I've built data centers all over the world, very large industrial complexes, huge projects. And while I did that, I started buying distressed multifamilies, gutting them out and re-renting them to the higher end market. And I kept doing that, and it started as a hobby.
Okay.
It was a way for me to enact that avenue of passion I had for real estate and be creative. I call real estate my art, right?
Of course.
It was my creative outlet, and I figured, all right, I'll buy a couple multis and flip some houses, and it'll be for my retirement. Because I had a very good career. But the more I did it, the more I loved it. And it was something that I could control, something that I could do myself. I had the ability to do it. I was growing the capital to do it. And it never was work for me. I just truly, truly loved it. So I kept doing it. And it got to the point where I was working 7 days a week, nonstop, between corporate America and then operating my business. And that spanned, I mean, the real 7 days a week part spanned, 12, 13 years. But I woke up one day and I said to my wife, this is crazy. I'm working like a madman. And she looked at me, and I had a really good job. And she said, why don't you leave your corporate job? And I said, that started to become the goal, but you never realize you're ready until you just pull the switch. And so I looked at her, I said, you're right. I'm at that point now where I could conceivably leave corporate America. And I did, and I have a picture on my cell phone of the last E-train in Manhattan that I took. It was in July, and I realized then this is the last time I'm going to take that train to work. And I've made a lot of really good friends there, and a lot of people I still talk to, and they're ecstatic to watch me do this. I wake up. In the beginning, I woke up and I was petrified. Yeah. Every morning, I woke up nervous and petrified because I have 2 kids, so it wasn't just me anymore. And that's subsided to now where I only wake up and freak out. Usually on Monday mornings that happens, but it's been one awesome journey, and I'm really proud of what I've created because it's been me. I run a one-man band. It's a significant business that I run by myself, and now I'm at that point where I'm at another crossroads where I have to engage other people into my business to expand my business because I've reached capacity to what I can do myself. And so now I'm at the point where I'm looking to hire, and that's another scary step for me on my journey because, again, I will be responsible for more mouths to feed. And I think as an entrepreneur, that's the biggest level of responsibility when it becomes not just about you or your business, it becomes about families that you're supporting.
Absolutely.
And that's where I'm at right now. So it's been one awesome ride, and still doing it.
Are you happy? Like, do you see yourself being a lot happier now doing this than I mean, corporate America, people think that's stability and that's like a career, but they can let you go at any time.
Yeah, I realized that my first job outside of college, I was there maybe a year or two, and I watched my supervisor and a whole bunch of my friends that worked there get laid off. Yeah. And I said, wow, there is no stability here. There's no guarantee here. No. And I knew that, and I pushed me even more to just, put that money away and make this happen. And it's been a long journey for me. I mean, I remember looking at large apartment deals in Union City, Weehawken, West New York, Elizabeth, early on in like 1999, 2000, I had no money, but I figured, I'll just syndicate the deal. I'll find the deal and I'll syndicate it. So I would run around every weekend and look at, a dozen buildings and run cost models, cash flow models on all these buildings, thinking I had the money to buy these. Right. And I did that for many, many years, and I never bought anything. And it was a lot of time. And I had friends at the time like, why are you wasting all your time doing this? You're not buying anything. And one, I liked doing it. Two, I knew I would eventually buy something. And now I am grateful for that time because now that I have the capital to utilize, I have the education from all those hundreds of hours that I put in. Yeah. And that's really, really helped me. And it was a lot of hard work and a lot of missed opportunities where my friends were going out having fun. They were going on trips and doing this and really loving life, and I was, hustling,
Of course.
for no money.
Doing what you had to do.
Yeah.
But you had a vision, and your passion outweighed those carnal things that everyone else was doing.
Yeah.
And, that's really what drives most people. Entrepreneurs a lot of times are misunderstood because they say like, "Oh, you're workaholic," or like, "Dude, man, you don't have a life." But you don't understand. Like, this is my life.
Yes.
This is my passion.
Yes.
I enjoy this.
Yep.
This is like playing video games for you. I enjoy being an entrepreneur.
Yep.
So it's crazy. It's a road that's taken by most people, but I love your story. You mentioned last night briefly, and I don't know if you want to touch on it, that you were couch surfing for a while, and like
I was couch surfing,
couch
yeah.
surfing to a guy who lives a block away from the beach now is a really big.
Before,
change.
I'm 3 blocks from the beach.
Oh, 3 blocks.
Soon, hopefully one block or yeah. No, I was couch surfing for some time. It's when I first started in college. I went through a rough time, and I wasn't doing the right thing. I'd lost focus. I guess it was kind of that time period where a lot of people go through where they enter, they start entering that adulthood time frame, and they don't really grasp the concept of it's on you now. It took me some time to really get my act together and connect the dots. And during that time, I was.
Was there a turning point in your life that was kind of like a switch that went off, and you were like, okay, I gotta take my life into a different direction?
I had gotten into a significant altercation, and I had gone into a fight, and I got beat up really bad, and I wouldn't have been in that situation if I was living the right way. And it made me realize, that I'm going down the wrong road. I have to change my course before it's too late.
Everyone needs that.
And it was a wake-up call. And I remember a couple months after that event, I went up to the individual and I shook his hand. And I said thank you.
Yeah, a lot of times we respect each other.
And he looked at me, and he looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, you opened my eyes. If it wasn't for that moment, who knows? Yeah. And I thanked him, and he, his jaw dropped. He didn't know what to say. And but I really, it was a heartfelt thank you. It was a turning point in my life that I will never forget, and I'm grateful for it to this day.
I like that, man. That's beautiful. So, Josh, your future, what do you see? What do you entail for you and your family and your business?
I want it to be a family business.
Yeah.
I work out of the 3rd story of my house, which before you had asked if I was happier, and I'm spades happier. It's I control my schedule, I control my destiny. And I get out what I put in. And I'm there every day to drive my daughter to school. I take my other one to lunch when I want to. When the weather's nice outside, I pop them on the back of my bike and we take a little ride for a half hour. And I want this to be a family business. Before I even had children, before I even met my wife, I always said that everything I do is for my family.
Of course.
And when I had one. And I really want my daughters, when they grow up, if they want the business, it's theirs. I take them to work with me now. They go to job sites, they check status with me. They know that at the beginning of the month we go to the post office box and we get the rent checks.
That's awesome.
And so they're only 5 and 3, and I try to involve them as much as possible. I have coin-operated laundry units in one of my buildings, and I empty them from time to time. And I take my oldest daughter, Lila, and she's all excited about the bag of quarters, and she tries to take them from me. But I want them to get excited about this because I had to do things in my life in terms of career-wise that I wasn't passionate about, and I did that for a very long time.
Yeah.
And in order for me to be able to do what I'm passionate about. And I don't want them to have to do that. I want them to have the ability to do what they truly love, regardless of what it is, regardless of money.
Follow that path.
As long as they're the best at it, I want them to know that they can do that. If my one daughter wants to be a ballerina or whatever, if she's the best ballerina in the world and she puts her all her effort and time into that, I want her to know that she can do that. And this business, Valerio Properties, will give them that ability. And if they want to work in the family business in some sort of aspects, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
well, Josh, thank you so much for that message, man. I think you're really going to touch a lot of people out there. I personally, I know more about you now than I did before, so I have that much more respect for you. And I didn't want to hear your whole story last night because I kind of wanted to hear it for the first time today to have a real reaction to it. So, bro, you blew me away, man. You're awesome, bro. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this and took a lot of value away from it. Josh Valerio, check him out. He's a great builder. If anyone needs a good guy down in Ocean County, this is your man.
Valerio Properties.
All right, guys. Have a great day.